If there's a few things that people who follow me and watch me on these shows know is that I hate the national media. And one of the biggest idiots I hate on the national media is Colin Cowherd. We're going to talk about him and his recent comments about Justin Fields and the doubt that he throw towards Justin Fields. We're also going to talk about comments from Eddie Jackson and Justin Fields to get you excited about the 2023-24 season. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more important than me, you can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. And yesterday, Justin Fields said that he believes he's a top 5 running quarterback of all time, which even in kind of my response to that, I talked about how that's fine. But, and I love the confidence, but I need to see it come from via winning, right? And so we had an idiot who just recently said that the Bears should be a playoff team say this.
Justin Fields. I said earlier this week, I think of all the quarterbacks in the NFL that have the most pressure, it's not on Dak. It's on Justin Fields. He's 5-20 in 25 starts. And for years and years, when I criticized Baker Mayfield, I believe many of you in the audience, though not all, I did have a lot of supporters, but many of you in the audience confused ego for confidence. I thought Baker had too much ego. I also said that about Johnny Manziel. He had too much ego. You guys would say it's chutzpah. I love my quarterback to be confident. So do I. Mahomes is. He has self-awareness. Brady, Peyton Manning, Justin Herbert, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, they have confidence. I don't see their ego. I don't see Lamar's ego. I don't see Josh Allen's ego. I saw it with Baker every Wednesday at the podium. I saw it with Manziel. It matters. You have, for years and years, many of you have told me it doesn't matter. And I always say with young quarterbacks, when I start seeing the drip, 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 that's the term I use, the faucet's leaking, drip, drip, drip. One little thing, that little thing, that little thing, it all matters at quarterback. It doesn't all matter at corner, middle linebacker, edge rusher, guard, running back. I don't hold them to the same standards. But at quarterback, you're the face of the franchise, and you're the coach on the field. So I'm going to hold you to a much higher standard of self-awareness and confidence over ego or chutzpah. And so this is not the end of the world. It's 5%. But I don't love it for a quarterback that's 5-20 and right now is closer to a bust than a star. Lamar's an MVP, Cam's an MVP, Vic's a 4-time Pro Bowler, Steve Young's a Super Bowl winner, Justin Fields is 5-20. You should have said, can we make it a top 4? Or said, I'd love to be there. Now, you can argue, I don't think he's one of the top 5 running quarterbacks. You get banged up, can't win games. It's not the end of the world. MVP, 4-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winner, bust.
Now, Colin Cowherd is one of the most stupid, dumbass, and back and forth, like, when it comes down to it, right? And this isn't even about him and his comments towards the Bears quarterback, Justin Fields, because here's what I'll say. I will say, because I said it yesterday, yes, it needs to come via winning. But when you talk about and you lay down a set of standards for a quarterback who, at the end of the day, he has not had the best team around him. Hell, he couldn't even stay upright. But when you talk about somebody who's closer to being a bust that almost set a record, right, in forward rushing for a quarterback last season, which is the topic of the conversation, I understand making it about wins. And that's how we do and talk about sports. We make sports about wins and losses. Like I said, hell, I did it yesterday. But when you talk about a player and compare them to players like Johnny Manziel, and you talk about them being a bust, saying that they're closer to a bust, and you just picked this team not even a month ago. It was just early. It was 2 weeks ago. You just said that the Chicago Bears should be a playoff team. This was a month before that. You just said the Bears should have 6 to 7 wins, and then you backtracked on that. The fact of the matter is this. This is why I despise the national media. It's not because that they have their opinions. You're right to have your opinion about the Bears, saying that we need to win. That is fair. That is objective. That is what every team in the NFL needs to do, is find ways to win more games. And yes, quarterbacks being held to a different standard, I can agree to that to a certain point. But when you say that, when you talk about a player that's in their third year, their only second year being a starter, and you say that they're closer to a bust after you just said that the team has enough talent to make the playoffs, listen, wins and losses aren't just about the quarterback. Yes, Justin Fields has tons of area that he needs to grow as a quarterback. But at the end of the day, Colin Cowherd is one of the most questionable goddamn dumbasses in the national media. And I've been trying my best, right? I've been trying to wait. I want this show improve. I want this team to show what they have before I get too far up or too far down on the ability of this team. But the facts of the matter are just this. Regardless of who, what, where, when, how, it takes time, effort, energy, and a team coaching staff. And hell, can we get the quarterback to stay upright? If you wanted to throw and lobby all the doubt towards Justin Fields as a passer and shame that he needs to grow in those areas, most Bears fans would have agreed with you. But the fact of the matter is this: you sit here with these clickbaity, and the fact that's the craziest thing, right? One of the things that I love about what we do here, me, C-Dub, and Bobby, we don't do shit for clickbaits. Even this, me going off about Colin Cowherd is legitimately because I feel like he's a dumbass, right? But when you are on the national stage and you do these things and have these hot takes to try to obtain clicks, it makes you look sad, and it's exactly why less and less people are tuning in to national sports media, right? The sports, they're all growing exponentially. But national sports media and people like Colin Cowherd that sit there with his eagle-shaped ass face and want to talk about a sport that he couldn't live and breathe a day in. Shut the entire fuck up, Colin Cowherd. That's what we got to say to you. And at the end of the day, it's this. And I'll stand on this. I stand on every bit of everything that I say. It's people and dumbasses like Colin Cowherd while the national media is failing. So like I said with this, and I've said this many times before, this is why you double down to people like me here at Chicago Bears Central, me, C-Dub, Bobby, Swifty over at the Swifty Sports, like what he does over there, Pat at what he does at the Windy City Breeze, and hosting the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000 because I'm extremely proud of what my brother does. Just another year. Jay, go make sure you go and support them. Follow the people who actually follow this team in and out and can be constructive when they criticize the team. Don't go and follow the dumbass people who sit there and do shit for clicks like Colin Cowherd, because fuck you. And that's what I got to say, and I'm fucking standing on it. Now, with that said, let's get into some actual content for today. After I'm done going off, Justin Fields says that he wants to break 4,000 yards passing and break that record for Chicago Bears. He says, I plan on doing it. And he says, he was asked by the fact that no Bears quarterback has reached the 4,000 mark, he was asked that by Michael David Smith over at Pro Football Talk. He said this: I plan on doing it this year too. I plan on doing it this year. Here's what I'll say. I love the confidence of Justin Fields. Despite what people like Colin Cowherd have to say, I love the confidence. I want that confidence in my franchise quarterback. And I love the fact that he puts the ownership on himself to show and prove it, right? Not just talking about his ability, not just acting like it's something that's just going to come easy for him. He talks about the fact that he needs to go out there and prove it. And while he has the confidence in the world, all the confidence in the world, I love that he is not back down from critiquing himself either, despite what some people like Colin Cowherd will have you say. And as we ride forth into 2023, I hope that he can do it this year. When you look at the pairing him, DJ Moore, right, the wide receiver core that we have, the tight ends that we have, hell, the catching that can come out of the backfield as well with our running backs. Justin Fields is set up eventually, hopefully, to break that record. I'm not going to put it on him to break it this year. I know some people are definitely going to hold that quote against him, depending on how good and bad he does this year. But the fact of the matter is this: as much talk as Justin Fields has done, us who actually follow this team knows he's been putting in that work. Right? How many tweets have we got from Daniel Greenberg saying there's one player practicing at Hallis Hall and it was Justin Fields? Right? We get those tweets probably once a month because Justin Fields is putting in the work. And while I am big on saying not all potential is actually realized all the time, Justin Fields has all the potential in the world to break so many records when it comes to Chicago Bears and quarterbacking for this team, because we just haven't had him. When you look at the record for passing yards in a season for the Chicago Bears, it belongs to Eddie Kramer, who did it with 3,838 yards and 29 touchdowns in 1995. Some of the people watching this show weren't even born when that record was set, right? I was 9 years old at that point in time. I'm an old bastard. So, that's what I love to see. And I love the fact that we have that confidence coming from Justin Fields. But just right along with Justin Fields, we got confidence also coming from Eddie Jackson, who Eddie Jackson said this: I'm going to have one of the best seasons ever played by a safety. Mark my words. And when you look at the season that Eddie Jackson was on pace to having last season, 12 games played for the Bears, 80 tackles done in that season, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. He was on his way to a Pro Bowl season that he deserved, right? Eddie Jackson was reinvigorated. I've said this many times, like the impact of youth and the new coaching staff and the new philosophies, everything seemed like it really reinvigorated Eddie Jackson and woke him back up. And if he's saying that he's primed, ready to have one of the best seasons for a safety ever, listen, I'm not one that words really do a lot for me. It gets me hype, especially in this dead part of the offseason, but I want to see that work put in. But one thing that I do trust with Eddie Jackson is Eddie Jackson's going to put in that work. And when you look at him lining up with Jaquan Brisker, having people in the secondary like a Tyreek Stevenson, right? Like the players that we have there, right? Kyler Gordon coming in for hopefully a better season. Jalen Johnson coming in hopefully to really prove some things as well. At the end of the day, we have tons of things that we need to prove on the offense and defensive side. And when you have people coming in ready to prove and giving the statements that they are giving, it makes you excited to be a Bears fan. Yeah, I talked a lot about an idiot in Colin Cowherd, but the things in the mindset and the culture that we're building here with the Chicago Bears is one that I hope actually becomes fruitful and it ultimately gets us to wins this upcoming season. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? Is it also fuck Colin Cowherd? FGB, FCC, I guess is what it would be as well. Add that right to the list as well. I love you guys, man. Make sure you continue following the show at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for our mailbag episodes that go down Fridays and Saturdays. The number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related because of you guys. And like in every episode up, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.